The more stressed that Sam gets, the more productive she becomes. It is such a dangerous cycle. I just keep going until there's literally nothing more to run on. Hey, I'm Sam, and this is The Phoenix Table. Raw stories from the fire for people rising out of the messy middle. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, pull up a chair, and join us, because we all rise better together. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the season closer of my very first season of The Phoenix Table. I was honestly really struggling with what I wanted to talk about this week. It's a few days before Thanksgiving that this episode is coming out, and I thought first and foremost, should we talk about gratitude? But gosh, what a cliche. So we're not going to do that today. Instead, I wanted to look at why was it that I did not know what to talk about? And to dig into this topic a little bit further, I first want to kind of set the stage for where we're at with everything. It's Q4, so it's an incredibly busy time of the year trying to wrap everything up, get things through for sales, and prepare for the next year. Meanwhile, my children had a long weekend, a 4-day weekend for Veterans Day. They also had an entire week then where they got off early from school for parent-teacher conferences. So I've been walking that really fine line between working full-time and still caring for my children at home. But what this made me realize as I started to watch myself and reflect a little bit on the last couple weeks and why I was feeling a little sizzled around the edges, a little crisp, is an idea that I think affects a lot of us. And that is productivity as a vice. Productivity as a vice. So what do I even mean by that? Well, what I've noticed in watching myself is that I tend to get into this really tricky cycle. The more stressed that Sam gets, the more productive she becomes. I think a lot of us do this. It is such a dangerous cycle because it's a loop, right? The more stressed I am, the more productive I become. The more productive I become, the less rest I get. The less rest I get, the more stressed I get. You can see how this loop can just turn into a spiral downwards, leading straight down into burnout. But I think a lot of us do this. We keep moving, potentially so that we don't have to ruminate on what's actually causing the stress. Sometimes it feels safer to keep going, keep doing instead of stopping. And to me, in that equation, productivity is a vice. It's a means of feeling something in the absence of what you actually need. And so what ends up happening is that I just keep going until there's literally nothing more to run on. And then that's when I really start to hit this feeling that I am having struggles with creating on demand, performing on demand. And it affects all sorts of things. I notice that my spelling becomes atrocious. I have grammar issues that I don't catch before I post something or I send an email. For me, my first sign is that my attention to detail just goes down the drain. So in recognizing this cycle and recognizing that I've been, honestly, for my entire life, using productivity as a means of escape, as a vice, I decided for my birthday, which was a few weeks ago, that I would just take the entire day off just for me. No emails, no meetings, no Slack. This was the first time ever, and I know this is terrible, but I'm going to admit it. Little vulnerability goes a long way. This is the first time ever that I've actually taken a vacation and not opened Slack. You have to understand Slack is kind of like my inbox, my email inbox. Like opportunities come through there, challenges come through, everything comes into Slack. So I truly decided to walk away for the entire day. And it was hard for me. And that's so sad. I realized that I find that laziness, this idea of laziness, is like the ultimate sin. If I'm not moving, if I'm not doing, I am lazy. And being lazy means I'm not lovable, I'm not worthy. And what a terrible cycle that is. So, underneath all of these emotions is this terrible belief that is fueling me forward, basically allowing me to drive the car when it is on empty. And so, in taking this day off, I did everything that I wanted to. I went to a yoga class. I did a breath work. I did a bookshop store, which was really nice. Going to a bookshop. I had dinner with my husband. I did a whole day dedicated to just self-indulgence, which is a whole nother topic of which I also have a lot of shame around. And what I found was, in some ways, people might think that, well, that sounds like a pretty productive day, Sam. But there's the difference for me. It was actually incredibly restful. And it's because all the things that I did that day were giving me energy back. They were things I chose to do for myself, and they refueled me. These activities gave me energy. Whereas a lot of times when I'm in that stress productivity cycle, I'm doing things that I feel like I should do or have to do, right? Like, okay, I'm stressed out, but the house is a mess. I'm going to clean up the house. Oh, I've been cleaning the house. I'm going to go ahead and organize the pantry. Oh, I'm organizing the pantry. I may as well go through the kids' toys and clothes and start putting together a donation and so and on, right? There's even days where I've found myself sitting at my desk late into the evening and I don't even know what I've been doing the last hour. That's a bad sign. That's a bad sign. But in taking this day off for myself, I realized all of these moments that I was taking away from work, away from the family, even. I didn't do a single thing for a single person all day on my birthday, and it was glorious. Those were moments where I was reinvesting back into myself and back into my own energy, which really honestly gave me back so much more capacity to give, so much more capacity to weather whatever comes my way, professionally or personally. And it also opened up this door to thinking about this idea of productivity in a completely different way. Because in this way, I learned that rest is productive. Doing things that have no tie to performance, to outcome, but that give back into myself is productive. And so instead of productivity becoming a vice or a crutch, in this scenario, it became a balm, a medicine for my soul. If you identify with that loop, that undying feeling inside you that if I stop now, if I just sit here and do nothing at all, that it is bad, that I am a bad person, that I am lazy, that I'm unlovable, I want you to consider what it would look like to reform that perception and do for yourself what you would do for someone that you love, which is most likely you would acknowledge You are tired. You seem very stressed. I would like you to take a break, whatever that looks like for you. We don't do that for ourselves. And so I'm inviting you in this episode today to listen to what I am saying and to take that break. The reason this is so important and timely is that we are going into the holiday season. And during the holiday season, a lot of us push aside our own personal needs to do what is socially acceptable, to do what is expected by our families. And a lot of times we do so with a small seed of resentment. And so these doings actually start to drain our energy. To balance that out, I invite you to find the things that give back into yourself, that fuel you up, that give you energy, that expand what we talked about many episodes ago, that window of tolerance, right? That space between what you can endure and where your ceiling is, where you just cannot handle anymore. When that window of tolerance is much wider, you can weather a lot more setbacks. You can take setbacks and look at them as opportunities. You can reframe challenges as the uh, impetus for doing something differently and better potentially. But you can't do that if you're tired, and you can't do that if you have nothing left to give. So I end this season on this little note, which is that you don't have to earn your rest, but you do have to protect it. And you do have to acknowledge that you are human, you do have limits, and you must put back into yourself the same amount that you are giving to others. I want to thank everybody who has participated, who has listened to this season. The Phoenix Table is coming back in January. I am so excited to bring you some of the stories that I have been working on, that I have been talking to other people about. We are going to continue to bring this type of productive energy into the ecosystem, where we're focusing on the fact that everybody has challenges, but that we can always find a way through, and that every negative side has a flip positive outcome potentially associated with it. If you're willing and you're able to give yourself the space to see it through. I am so incredibly grateful for the opportunity and for the trust to bring these types of stories to you all. And my hope is that together we become better. So thank you for tuning in to season 1. Have a wonderful holiday season, and we will see you in season 2 next year. Thank you for joining me on the Phoenix Table. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, review, and subscribe, and make sure to share this story with someone who might need to hear it. Remember, we rise better together.